He's about the worst person in the last century. Einstein was about the greatest. But Hitler got that Volkswagen Beetle, and that was a wonderful car because it's so cheap to maintain and so much fun to drive, and it was so easy to work on, and you didn't use any gas. If we can have a car like that, that instead of these companies making money contributing to foundations and stuff, they could contribute products that would last, that would be cheap to run and maintain. We could have a world car that would be all over the world. Would be, they could have subsidiary places where they manufactured it, but it'd be a world car, and that everybody could afford it, and we could have a stay standard of living, hopefully more or less, over all over the world. Africa's about the only country in the continent that's lagging behind, but even them, even the Africans, they got these sports people and this music, and they contribute with music and sports, and they're Americans because of religion in America. The African churches, some of the greatest exponents of American religion, the African churches in America. And but I wanted to talk about this too, that their mode of perception for rationalism is the mind. That relates to mathematics and logic, and then the mode of perception that's for the Greeks, and then for the English is the senses, and that's empiricism, and that relates to physics and science, and that relates to using the senses to measure matter, because that's what physics is, and that's the queen of the sciences, where rationalism is the queen of the philosophy. And then you get into the right brain and the French, and you get emotions is a medium for the French. That's idealism, the idealistic, the beautiful, the harmonious, and that's the art forms, and that's biology, because you got biophilia. That's the love of nature. That's our greatest art form about is nature. And idealism, then you get into subjectivism, the USSR, the USA, and you get into the intuition. That's what because the right brain is emotions and intuition, and the left brain is the mind and sensation, and intuition is the Russians, and that's Kierkegaard he was Danish. I think he was the greatest pioneer for that, because he talked about commitment to God, because by experience, and William James was a great American that talked about religion, how we can feel when we commit ourselves to God, we see God working in our lives, because that's the strength of America. We come here to worship God. Some people come here to make money, but so many people come to America for religious freedom. And that's Scorpio, that's water signs in depth. Scorpios are some of the most evil people, but some Scorpios are the most religious, like St. Augustine was supposed to be a Scorpio, and Martin Luther, and also Billy Graham, and that's the strength of America's religion. The Russians are religious, but they're communists. That was a religion for the Russians. The only trouble with religion and communism is it's a dictatorship, because if you don't believe in Christ, if you're a Christian, you go to hell. If you're not a communist, you can die too. I mean, they have a purpose, because communism gives people good moral standards, and Christianity does also. I think the Russians are recovering now, but I think for a long time they was doing better than communism. But that doesn't mean communism was a good thing for us, because we're capitalists by nature. We're more competitive. That's the other side, the active side of Scorpio, where the passive side is more the communist. They do things more in groups, where we do things more as individuals. But I think that they was cut out more for communism, where we're cut out more for capitalism. But I think that Eastern Europe is some of the most religious people in the world, about the most religious people in Europe, and we're about the most religious people too. And that's Scorpio, because that's the Russians and Americans and the Slavic people. I say Russians, I mean Slavic people generally. Just like I say Germany, I mean Germanic people. And I say France, I mean France, Italy, Portugal, and Spain. I mean all the Romantic people, the Latin people. I just say France is the main country, like Russia's the main country, and Germany's the main country. But some ways, the Scandinavians are doing better than the Germans even for quality of life. They're ranked about the highest, those countries in the world. And they got a trade surplus, the Russians and the French. The French a lot too relate to holism, but not as much as the Germans, because the Germans got that idea about Gestalt, about the interconnectedness of things, just like the Asians do. I think the Asians will be more predominant than the Germans. But I sent my ideas to California, And California sees the future because they're always ahead of time. Maybe that had something to do with that Schwarzenegger getting elected because he's Austrian. I said Austria and Switzerland would be the future. But then I got to thinking they're not main countries. Germany's a main country like France and Italy. I mean France and England and Russia, so it'd be the Germans in general. Austria would be a German country, but it wouldn't be only Austria or Switzerland. I was thinking because they was in the center of everything, like holism is central, but it's more that they're an important country like France and England and Russia, Germany. But I think that's why they got Schwarzenegger. You never know for sure. I got these ideas, and this wonderful man that's helping me, Elder Baroni, is helping me to get these ideas, and he sees them because young people see new ideas where older people are stuck in their ways a lot of times, and you have to wait till the older people die out before they start listening to you. Because the young people a lot of times are too headstrong and they rush into things, they're too impulsive, but they're also more flexible because that's what we need too, is the flexibility. The old people have a lot of wisdom and they have a lot of patience, but they're not so good at facing new things. But I think I can face the new and the old both, and I'm older, but I get new ideas all the time, and I like all ages of people. And but I want to go on to that about the basic subjects of science. When the mathematics would relate to rationalism and abstractness and logic, and physics would relate to science and the senses and concreteness, and then biology would relate to harmony and biophilia, the love of nature, and idealism, and then in art, and then parapsychology. That's the thing that they don't see. Because a friend of mine, Mary Williams, she's wonderful. She tried to get my ideas published, and everybody refuses to publish them. They refuse to talk to me. This is about the only chance that I got to talk to people. And Elder Baroni sees that, and he's far-seeing because he can see the importance of that. And Mary Williams was saying that parapsychology, that's something people don't see. They see mathematics and physics and biology and science, but they don't see the Scorpio aspect because there's 4 aspects. There's Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Parapsychology is an aspect of science. It's more statistical. It's based on statistics because they've taken statistical analysis of people that were sick that was prayed for, and they've proved that statistically they've significantly got better by the prayer that people give them. And that's statistical proof. They say that you can't prove anything by parapsychology, but it's because it's a subjective aspect. The human nature is involved. And the right brain and human nature is free will, where determinism is more the science part and the philosophy part, where the art of religion is more the right brain, and that's more free will. Because the left brain, you take conservation of energy and matter in physics, and that's reversible in time, just like mathematics is time reversible. But you take, excuse me, I gotta wipe my brow. I got these ideas lately about time reversibility. Mathematics and science are time reversible, physics, but you take evolution, your physical evolution and your spiritual evolution. Leo is the physical evolution, and the spiritual evolution is Scorpio, and the spiritual evolution is even more important than the physical evolution because the survival of the fittest was the physical evolution, but now we're getting overpopulated. And that was Freud's idea about psychology, about sex, because he thought that the physical aspect was the one that made us evolve, but it's getting overpopulated, and I think we should turn more to Carl Jung. That's who I like the best anyway, because he thought it was religion more, the spirituality aspect, and we need to turn to spirituality with overpopulation. But my ideas are that the problem with Aquarius 2, the second Aquarius, the first one would be the Greeks, and then the last one would be holism, and the Germans. The problem with that, because every sign has a problem, every fixed sign, and the problem with that is we need integration, but we need integrity too, and homosexuality will be the problem in the future because it's overpopulated, like abortions, I don't think they're right, but I think that that's a prop answer to overpopulation. But I think the best aspect is using birth control, because we have all kinds of birth control and have marriage.